Hello everyone, my name is Kayla from Chromatic Creations and welcome to my channel. Now, I have been crocheting for about 2 years now and I spend a lot of time crocheting. I have made a lot of crochet things, and one of the things that I really enjoy doing is making crochet sweaters. As you can see here by the giant stack sitting next to me, it is almost as tall as I am. Well, not quite, but this is a considerable number of sweaters. I thought it would be fun to go through all of these sweaters together, talk about them, do a little crochet show and tell. A lot of these sweaters you've probably seen through watching my videos, but there are a few on here that I have not talked about or really shown much on my YouTube channel. So I am really excited to share this all with you guys. Now, disclaimer, this is not technically all of my crochet sweaters. I am missing one. It was a sweater that I made for my sister and it was my second ever sweater. So I don't have it anymore. It was for my sister. She currently owns this sweater, so we won't be able to talk about it too much. But other than that, this is all of my crochet sweaters. We should probably go in order. This is just how I stacked it after pulling it all out of my closet. So let's start with the first sweater. This is the first crochet sweater I ever made. And I made this, let's see, I started crocheting in September of 22. And I made this probably around November, I want to say. So this was pretty early on in my crochet journey. This was the first crochet wearable that I made, other than like, I made hats and headbands, but like this is my first big crochet piece that I made. To this day, I still love this sweater and I wear it just as regularly, I think, as I wear my other crochet sweaters. This sweater is from a tutorial that I had found online for a mesh raglan. It is similar construction to the mesh raglan tutorial that I made, but they are different, okay? I don't want you to think that I copied the other tutorial. I did not. This was just me learning how to make raglan, and since then, I of course have been inspired by other crochet patterns I've done. I found what I like, how I like to do things, and it is a different pattern, but this was originally the first sweater I made. It was made with treble crochets in kind of a mesh pattern. I'm not entirely sure, but the mesh is a little different than, it's not like a super blocky mesh, it's kind of elongated, but it is a really nice sweater. This was made with 100% acrylic yarn from Michaels. I believe it was one of the Karen cakes. I could not tell you which one it was off the top of my head. It is made with, I almost want to say it's a 5-weight bulky yarn, but I'm not 100% sure. But it is a very nice sweater considering it's the first one I ever made. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it was maybe January of 23 that I made this, not in November, because I remember finishing it on my way to Sacramento on a plane. And that must have been early 23. But that is my first crochet sweater. Now I'm gonna fold these back up in between and kind of just try to keep them nice. Now, the second crochet sweater I ever made is this beautiful thing. Okay, bright orange, gorgeous sweater. This sweater is from a pattern. This was actually the first pattern that I followed for a wearable, and this is the Golden Rod sweater. It is a paid pattern, but I absolutely loved the texture and just the construction is very unique for a sweater. It is worked in the round, increasingly getting bigger, not quite as boxy as your typical raglan yoke. It was definitely a little bit interesting, but it gives a very nice rounded neckline. And I did choose to taper the sleeves, which wasn't in the original pattern, but I really do like how it turned out. However, I don't know what I was thinking when I was picking colors for this pattern, because this is a very bright orange sweater. So I really saved this sweater for Halloween. This is my Halloween sweater. I wear it once a year. It is super bright and fun. And I did wear it this year to the yarn shop. I worked a shift, so I got to hand out candy to trick-or-treaters at the yarn shop wearing my bright orange sweater. This is also made with 100% acrylic. This is the Facets yarn from, I can't remember the name of it, but it's from Michaels. It is a roving style acrylic. Do not try to frog this material. It doesn't. So this sweater is forever in this form, but I do really enjoy it. I think it turned out really lovely for my first sweater. If I were to do it again, I probably would have added some type of ribbing or cuffing at the bottom. It just kind of ends pretty abruptly, and I would choose a different color yarn. Like, don't get me wrong, I love this yarn. I love the feeling of it. The colors are really vibrant, but it's bright orange, and I don't often have a reason to be wearing this bold of a sweater. I'm just not a bold gal. Like, I'm bold in some ways, but this is a bit much for me. My next sweater is this one. This is a hexi cardigan turned into a pullover, and this to this day is one of my favorite crochet wearables that I've ever made. I seriously love this yarn. This again is from Michaels. It is a Karen cake. I don't remember what it was. I'll put it here. It's a very unique texture, and I want to say that it's made with polyester and acrylic. So it kind of balls up, but it's like almost felting together. Let me see if I can. It's almost like felting together in these stitches, but I kind of like it. Like, the stitch definition is going away, but it's just kind of merging into this very colorful, beautiful sweater. And I did end up adding a pocket in the front, which was kind of me first beginning to add in my own little flares to my projects. Didn't follow a pattern for this. I think I originally looked up a tutorial for how to start the hexagon, like granny square, and then from there I just made it big enough to fit me all the way around. So I did not have to add an extra panel in the back or the front, but however, that did make the sleeves very wide. So I do have some balloon sleeves going on, and I did add, you know, a couple of rows for the sleeves, and then I did taper quite a bit. And of course, I also added the little collar in the front, which I feel like is just such a gorgeous little detail. I loved this sweater, and honestly, I would love to make another one. It was just a lot of fun to make. On to our next. The next sweater I ended up making was actually a cardigan, but I'm still gonna throw it in here because I feel like it counts. I put a lot of time into this cardigan. It took me about 2.5 weeks of this being my only project. At this time, I wasn't working a job. I was at home, and I was actually in recovery for a illness, and I literally just crocheted all day. So this sweater is definitely a labor of love, and it shows. So this is the Gemma cardigan from I Am Lanka, and it is such a gorgeous cardigan pattern. Like, I don't think, like, you really have to see it on for its personality to show, but I absolutely love this pattern. It was definitely a challenge at first, just getting into the rhythm of this specific pattern, but once I got the hang of it, it was honestly a really nice flow, and I think it turned out so beautifully. I did use a thicker yarn than what was recommended, so I did have to play around with my gauge just a little bit, but I think it turned out really lovely. The yarn I used for this project is, I want to say it's something like Baby Soft or Baby Bee or something. It's a Hobby Lobby yarn, and it's a acrylic polyester, if I'm guessing correctly, but it is a lovely cardigan. I want to make one of these with like a cotton blend of some kind. I think a cotton would be really nice for like summertime evening, and I would love one of these in like cream or white, just to kind of go with more of my outfits. So don't be surprised if I make another one of these. I mean, I own the pattern, so I should utilize it, right? but I seriously love how this one turned out, and it is definitely a favorite in my wardrobe. However, the color is definitely giving spring, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, spring's great, but I would love something more neutral that I could wear like year round. The next crochet sweater I made is actually, I guess, more of a kind of a shirt. This is my version of my mesh sweater. There is a free tutorial to how to make this on my channel. It is different construction than the other mesh I showed you, but it is more of a kind of shrug or bolero, I guess you could say. And this is made with 100% polyester, a yarn from Joanne, the Bernat Latisse. I made this in one day, okay? Like, I don't even know if you'd really consider this a sweater, but I'm considering it. This was a lot of fun to make. I have another one that I made in Kobu. That one's definitely not a sweater. That's like a summer layer. So this one's the only one that passed as a actual sweater, I guess. But I love this thing. It is my favorite color. I love green, obviously, and it goes with a lot of my clothes, and it's just cute layer. I really honestly need to utilize it more, but that is that, I suppose. Now, coming into my more recent sweaters, we actually have one more I need to put on this pile. Coming into my more recent sweaters, these were all made in the past couple of months. Like the past, I want to say 3 months, I've made these sweaters. So starting with the first raglan that I did this year, this is just a simple crochet raglan, double crochets, and it is really cute. I love the colors. They are so fall and fun. This was made with 100% acrylic from the Lion brand mandala cakes. I think they're just called mandala cakes. And I had a lot of fun making this sweater, even though when I was making it, I was sick. So I think I'm always gonna hold that memory. I made this sweater in 3 days, which honestly is really impressive. I really love the feel of this sweater. It's more of a lightweight. It's not super, super thick. It's kind of cropped. It's not a huge sweater, which just makes it really nice. I have worn it a few times since I made it, and I do enjoy it. I also washed it with some white vinegar, and it made the acrylic so soft. So that's definitely something I'm gonna do in the future if I make more acrylic sweaters. Though I am trying to move away from synthetic fibers, but wool is expensive and it's not always the softest material. So I still will use acrylics, but I am trying to move away from, like I said, synthetic fibers just for the sake of our environment and well-being. But I do still love me some acrylic. It's just, it's a nice yarn, especially if you don't have a lot of money. So don't think I'm a snob. I still enjoy acrylic. I think there is a yarn for everybody, and everyone has their own story when it comes to what yarn they are using, and everyone's opinions are gonna look a little bit different, and that is okay. Moving on to the next sweater. This is a V-stitch raglan sweater, and I made it in a oversized. As you can see, it is a very large sweater, and this is one of my favorites for sure. I love the colors. It took me so long just because I was changing color every row. I wasn't following a specific pattern with my color changes. I was just kind of vibing with it. And I was using the Lion brand mandala bonus cake. So they're like really big color changing cakes. And what I did is I separated each of the colors individually into their own separate little balls, and I was using those for my color changes. Well, the thing is with those cakes is that you get different amounts of each color. So while I was working this sweater up, I was trying to change my colors while keeping in mind that I had more of one than the other, but I still wanted a certain vibe. So it was honestly kind of stressful, but it did turn out so stinking cute. Like, this is my favorite sweater that I've ever made. It has to be. It has to be my favorite sweater that I've ever crocheted. Like, it is just is so lovely. So definitely on my favorites list. And you will see me wearing this a lot. Next up, we have a pattern test sweater. This is the Rivers and Roads sweater that I made for my girl Lola, and she designed this sweater pattern and I got to pattern test for her, and let's just say mine came out oversized. And the yarn I used is really heavy. This is a 2-pound sweater. This is a weighted sweater, okay? But let me just say, it is so soft. This has to be the softest sweater of my pile. It is so soft and snuggly. Like, I want to put this sweater on and curl up in bed. This is a lounging around the house on a freezing Saturday sweater. It hasn't really been tested against the elements yet, just because it's still changing into winter where I'm from, but I do love this sweater. As huge as it is comfy. So definitely keeping this in my collection for a long time. It took me a long time. I made a full video of me going through the process of crocheting this sweater if you are interested about it and you want to see some more. But that is the Rivers and Roads crochet sweater. And now last but not least is my most recent crochet sweater that I actually finished maybe about a week and a half ago. And this is another V-stitch sweater, very similar to this one. In fact, it is the same exact construction, same stitch. However, with this one, I did not change colors every row. I simply let the colors change on their own, and I got a lovely kind of TV static, I guess you could say. I am not a huge gray wearer. I don't wear a lot of gray. But I had the yarn for this, and I made this specifically to make the tutorial. So if you want to make a V-stitch crochet sweater, I have a free tutorial on this page. Same one as this one, like I said. This one, you just change color every row. This one is just letting it fly and have a good time. This sweater is made out of another Lion brand mandala. However, this is the Lion brand mandala ombre. This is a 4-weight yarn instead of the 3-weight that was used with its counterpart. So it's a little thicker and cozier, but I will say the ombre has a lovely texture and it is just a really, really soft acrylic. Going back, I totally forgot to tell you guys what this is made out of. I said it was a really heavy yarn, which it is. This is made out of the Big Twist Prism by Joanne. It is also 100% acrylic. It is a very dense yarn, but like I said, it is so soft. But yeah, that is my crochet sweater collection. As you can tell, I use a lot of acrylic yarn when it comes to crocheting sweaters. However, like I said previous, I would like to get more into using natural fibers, so wool, alpaca, etc. And now that I work at a yarn shop, I've got really great yarn inspiration around me all of the time. So my next sweater will probably be made out of something a little bit more natural. But I still love these sweaters. I still wear them regularly. I know they're made out of acrylic, and that's kind of a controversial topic in the yarn sphere. But don't let anyone tell you what you can or can't use to make your projects. If you want to buy acrylic and make a sweater, do it. Do it. It's all up to your preference. It's all up to your budget. And I think there's a place for every type of yarn. So don't let people snob you into thinking you have to use natural fibers. This is just the path that I will be taking from here on out. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna completely stop using acrylic and polyester, because they're nice materials and they make nice clothing. And these clothes are gonna last a very long time. They are handmade, they are slow fashion, and my children might be wearing these clothes one day. So, pretty excited about that. I am currently working on my first ever knit sweater, which I am so excited about. And if you want to see more about that, I have a couple of videos already up of me working through the process. It is taking a hot minute, as you can imagine, but maybe one day I will be able to do a show and tell of all of my knit sweaters, which could be a couple years because I don't know how long it'll take to knit enough sweaters to make a whole video on, but you never know. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing all of my crochet sweaters. If you did, be sure to let me know which one is your favorite, which one would you wear? But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to do more show and tell videos in the future, so be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Goodbye my friends!